Hi guys, and welcome back to Running a Freelance Design Business. This is lesson 9, branding for freelancers. So in this lesson, we're going to look at what branding is and why it's important for freelance designers. If you ask people what they think branding is, quite often you'll hear them say, well, it's a logo, business cards, stationery, a website, maybe a social media presence, or a slogan. That, or any of those one things on their own is not a brand. It's the collection of all those things. It is, in actual fact, it's the feelings and emotions conveyed to the viewer that form your brand. So they're very important elements of a brand, but they don't on their own make a brand. They don't make that response to your business or company. However, they do form a very large part of your brand, and so getting them right is fundamentally very important. A logo is in essence just a very simple illustration, a symbol, an icon, or a collection of design elements that represent your brand. We see logos all around, we see them on all the products pretty much that we buy, on cars, on billboards, adverts, TV, everything has got logos. So they're everywhere, and that means that they are quite difficult to make unique, to make them stand out, but it also shows their importance. So logos are incredibly important. They are very, very often used by companies because it's just an absolute must nowadays. So you need to get a good logo and a good, solid brand. How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to think about in this lesson how exactly you can actually do that. So before we actually talk about how you can do it, and we'll look at some good examples of branding, we're going to think about the sort of emotions and things that you need to convey behind a brand before you start designing it. What you want to do is to create emotions towards your service and towards your reputations, towards your company, that shape the client's feelings, and in essence it makes them attracted to your brand rather than them just thinking, I need a freelancer, let's go with this guy maybe. It will actually physically attract them to the brand, and it will generate more custom for you, and it will just help sell your business more easily. Let's take, for example, Jeffrey Way, who is a Tuts Plus instructor and NetTuts editor. Jeffrey is well known in the design and development communities for his ability to effectively demonstrate techniques and just in essence to be able to help people learn new coding languages, new and exciting different techniques and methods that are out there to be learned. He's got a very good teaching quality, and that is Jeffrey's brand. He's an excellent teacher with abilities beyond that of others who try to teach people things. Jeffrey is a lot better than those, and thus he's set himself above the competition. So what you want to do is think about your competition. You want to become known as the designer who can create easy to use websites, who can create effective result producing designs. You might want to be known as the designer who perhaps gives the best customer service, the most aesthetically pleasing designs. Perhaps you're the master of a certain design style. These are all considerations for your USP, and that is something you're going to need to work out and calculate before you can actually create a logo or even start thinking about your brand. Your brand is what's going to set you apart from the rest of the competition. It will go a long way in selling your services and reducing the actual amount of selling you're going to need to do. You need to work out exactly what your USP is. Now, we've talked about this in the business plan lesson. We've helped you decide what your USP is and write it down. But if you haven't quite thought of one yet, perhaps are you a helpful, jargon-busting person? Are you just a friendly person to deal with? Have you got great people skills, great customer service? Are you good at helping people or hand-holding clients, cutting out all the jargon, telling them why they need to make decisions, helping them and just really guiding them along through whatever design process it is that you're guiding them through? Is that something that can be your personal, unique selling point? Once you've got a USP, that will attract customers to you, but it will also start to shape your visuals, your logo, websites, any brochures, business cards, all that sort of stuff. So you can see it's very important, and that in essence is the formation of your brand, your USP. What makes you different is going to help push your brand forwards. So really the first thing in a brand is a logo. So what you want to do is start sketching out some concepts something that's going to underline your unique selling point. Sketch out ideas, perhaps an icon or a logo type. It's all going to depend on your clients, on your target market as well, is all this, because you don't know without research what kind of typefaces a client might expect. Perhaps if you're selling to big national companies, you want a very professional, like minimal typeface. If you're selling to healthcare professionals and doctors and things like that, you might want a certain type of colour scheme. So you're going to need to research into that. You're also going to need to gather inspiration using sites, for example, like Creatica, which has got some great logo designs on there. You can see what other people are doing. And this way you're going to start to get a brand forming. So once you've done that, once you've decided the sort of style and look, you've got inspiration gathered up, you want to think about the colours. Spend a lot of time thinking about colours. Work on services like Adobe Cooler so that you can actually go out and start to pick out colours that are going to work together, colours that are very harmonious or contrasty. And whatever style it is that you choose, these are going to help underline that. So let's have a look at a certain site that I think works well for freelance design. It's called rideforthebrand.net. Now what the site itself is actually displaying is a very vintage, old school sort of retro look. And to me that suggests that they are trustworthy, they've been going for a while, and it's just a real good kind of heartwarming message. And you'll note the logo design, that's very much in style. It's all very well designed, it's all unified, colours are nice, it all works together, and it shows their design talent. And so the logo there, it suits the company, it suits their appearance, it makes them look different and unique. Everyone's trying to go super minimal, super new, super modern. These guys have gone vintage, and that really helps them stand out, and it shows that they are very good at that certain design style, which might then suit cafes, it might suit rock kind of bands, any sort of style like that. It will help underline their unique selling point. So when you actually create your logo, what do you want to do? Well, you want to create a black and white version of the logo, especially if it's a very complicated one or one that has lots of colours in, so that you can actually then print it out on things like invoices, as well as at smaller sizes and things like that. So consider black and white if you're going to be printing or working at smaller sizes. When it comes to the actual naming of your company, you want to think about perhaps using, if you decide that eventually you want to grow your company, then it might be worth deciding to use a company name rather than just your personal name. So for example, if I was to set up Ben Gribbin Design, it kind of implies that it's just me designing, whereas if I went Gribbin Design or Gribbin and Gribbin, something like that really stands out. It's then becoming a more professional company name, and that could help you attract bigger, larger projects. However, with that said, sticking with a personal name may suit some freelance designers, especially if you're working with smaller companies, maybe where they only have a few employees, because it helps show them that actually you're a trustworthy person, that you are going to be the sole contact for them. And some people actually just prefer smaller companies, single designers working on their own. So you're going to have to weigh up again what your clients want, what kind of look you want, how it's going to work. Do you want your logo to be blocky and square so it's easy to incorporate in content? Or is it going to be a little better if you have a more rounded, circular one? Are you going to just be displaying it on the web? If so, then you've got a little bit more creative freedom with your logo. Considering what style and medium it's going to be published in is going to help as well. So for example, if you put it on the web, then you've got more creative ability to tweak your logo. You could have an animated logo, whereas if it's going to be on invoice headers and business cards, it needs to have the flexibility to be used in all those purposes. So there's a lot of planning going into this, as you'll notice. Now, a good example of a really clean, very efficient freelance design brand is ValenDesigns.com. Now this site is very clean and minimal, you'll see there. It looks really good. It's got a lot of information, but it's all laid out very, very lightweight, it's very clean, it's very minimal. And that message helps underline that the freelancer behind the site actually is very good at the Web 2 style, creating clean, usable websites. It's all highly, highly usable in itself. You can find all the information you want. it works well, the logo is very clean and crisp, and you could actually convert that to work well at black and white, in grey. You could do a negative space logo. So think about how your logo is going to be used, think about your overall branding and style, and try to work over that. And if you're still wondering all about branding and identity design in general, perhaps you don't really work with these mediums of design in general, check out my identity design course on Tuts Premium, because that is an excellent source for kind of a beginner's guide to identity design. It's a very detailed course. It will take you from absolute beginner to almost like intermediate sort of level, and you'll have a better understanding of picking out colours, of designing a logo, helping shape a brand to suit a target market. So check that out. It's available on Tuts Premium, and it's a brilliant little source for that. So in this lesson, we have looked at how you can start to shape a brand, why you need a brand. We've considered all the different elements of a brand. We've looked at some good examples of them. And your task for the lesson is to start shaping your brand. If you haven't done already, go out and check my identity design course, have a read and watch of that, and start to plan out your brand, start to shape your brand, and also make sure that your USP is very clearly defined and you know exactly where you're going with that. Next time on Running a Freelance Design Business, we'll be looking at marketing for freelancers. Thanks for watching.